Well, hello everyone. Welcome to YALSA's 2016 Teen Read Week webinar presented by Clemintina Nunez of the Houston Public Library. My name is Nicole Gibby Mungia. I'm the Program Officer for Continuing Education for YALSA. And before we get started, I'd just like to review a few features of our webinar software. During today's program, we'll be communicating with each other via chat. So at any time during the discussion, you may submit your questions to Clementina using the chat box, which is located on the left-hand side of your screen. Clementina will make every attempt to answer the questions as they come in or as they fit into the flow of the discussion. If we run out of time to answer a specific question, don't worry, we'll make sure to follow up with the group with an answer. If you would prefer to not see the chat box during the webinar, you may click on the full screen button, which is located on the upper right-hand side of your screen, and that will eliminate the chat and attendee list boxes. To undo the full screen view, simply click on that same button again. Located at the top of your screen in the middle, you should see an image of a person with her hand raised. If you click on the arrow next to the image of the person, you'll see that you have a variety of options, which include raising your hand, laughing, applauding, agreeing, disagreeing, etc. During the presentation, if you experience any audio issues, please type into the chat box to let me know, and I will work with you to resolve them. Following today's presentation, you will receive a link to the webinar recording and PowerPoint slides. If you would like to receive a certificate of participation, please email me following the webinar, and I would be happy to send that along to you. Clementina, thank you for joining us today. I now turn it over to you.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Okay, awesome. So thank you for joining us on engaging Latino youth through STEAM, going beyond your walls. It's afternoon here in Houston, but I know for some of you it may be morning, so good morning and good afternoon. And we'll go ahead and get started. So your fabulous facilitator is Clemintina Nunez. I've worked with the Houston Public Library community engagement team for the past 3 years as one of their technology instructors. I have left my telephone number and as well as my email address where you can contact me at any time. If you call me and I'm unable to answer your phone call, I may be out on the field because we are pretty much 6 days out of the week are going out to events. So let me go ahead and tell you a little bit more about what I do. I work for the team called Community Engagement, and our first vehicle that we have is this big RV that is equipped with 12 computers on board. So we call it a little computer lab on the go, and it's equipped with a smart board as well. Our vision is to increase the visibility and awareness of the library's programs and services to the Houston community. Our community has more than 145 different languages that are spoken in Houston, so that's about 46% of Houstonians older than 5 years old speak a language other than English at home. We restructure the thoughts of what a library is, because a library is more than just books. The library is a community's place for learning, fun, and adventure. So we believe that small ideas can lead to big programs. No idea cannot become a program. We like to embrace the change and creativity. Many times we have brainstorm by just joking around. Hey, I think that would be nice, to do one day at an event, and then it ends up becoming a program. Like one of our co-workers loves Minecraft, and that was like what they like to do after work. And we were like, well, since you know so much about it, why don't we make that a program? And it became one of our programs, and the kids love it. Some of the vehicles that we do have that help us to take out these programs out to the community is our Mobile Express, which is our RV, as well as two HPL branded vehicles. We have a Mercedes that where we take out to community centers, schools, and we do puppet shows out of that one. And then the other one is upfitted to be a smaller version of our bus. And we can have a computer class inside of that vehicle, or we can do it as a gaming session. And we also have two smaller vehicles when we don't need so much equipment to transport. So we started from 4 walls, a traditional library, to none. We started with 5 staff members back in 2008, and now we have a little bit more than 12 people on staff. At our humble beginnings, we had quite a few empty seats, and now we have some waiting list as more organizations find out about our programs and offerings. Within our current fiscal year, we have had 246 literacy events, 261 school support events, 93 technology training events, and over 29,625 people have attended our events. So we'll talk about some of the things that we'll cover in today's presentation. First, starting off with the planning process and what that looks like. Taking the programs outside of the library, going out to the community, to those organizations where the kids are mainly going to be at. How to establish the partnerships with those organizations. What kind of programs you can take out or doing within your library. And then possibly a summer camp or a week camp, as I like to call it. So I want to get a sense about what you're thinking about any fears or concerns. So Nicole has a poll question that I created for you, and I'd like for you to go ahead and take a few minutes to answer that question. So what are some obstacles that you think you will face in the future? So those are really good concerns, and all of that we have come across as well. Okay. Um, what we do, the vehicles that we get are provided by the Friends of the Library. They are the ones who sponsor the vehicles and they give us the funds to purchase these vehicles. As far as attendance levels. Within our team, we let the organization know that at minimum, we would like 8 students or participants to attend our events. I mean, not always we're going to have a high attendance, and that's something that we're very conscious about, that, hey, it can happen, whether it's due to the weather, especially here in Houston. If it rains, nobody's coming out. So if we get one person, we're like, yay, thank you for coming. Um, but we are very aware of that. Yeah, definitely connecting in a way that will get people to come. If you pique their interest in what they want to work with, or what they want to do or learn more about, they will definitely come. Whenever we go out to outreaches, that's a great way for you to uh, let the community know what the library has to offer. You would be surprised how many times I go out to an outreach and people think that all we do is just books all day. And which is true. We do have books, and that is our main source, but there's all other kinds of services and programs that the libraries are offering, and not a lot of people know about it. So outreaches for us is a great way to let the community know, hey, we're doing these things, but we can also bring them out to you. And once they hear, really, you can bring them out to us? And then they ask, well, how can I do that? Then that also intrigues the question, and then it follows up with how you can and what kind of programs you can bring out to them. And then we'll talk about how to develop a good partnership and some of the partnerships that we have um, developed in the past. Well, thank you. So language barriers are usually some of the obstacles that we have faced in the past. Um, we have been lucky enough that we have had a staff that is bilingual in the languages that we have encountered, whether it's Chinese, Mandarin, or Cantonese, Spanish, um, as well as some of the languages that are spoken in within other countries. Programs to offer, what programs and how many of those programs do we offer to an organization, or how many times we'll go out to them, is some of the things that we've had to pretty much say, okay, this is what we're going to do. As far as transportation, sometimes we're lucky that we have those vehicles, but there have been instances where I don't know if within your organization, if it's part of the county or the city, if there is a program where you can request department vehicles. If you can request department vehicles, then that will allow you to carpool. That way you can get to these events without having to use your own personal vehicle. But if you have to use your personal vehicle, maybe ask within your organization if there's some type of reimbursement for mileage. So some things that you would like to consider while during your planning process is the number of program offerings. Um, Would you want to offer 5 programs, 20 programs? Those are some things that you want to think about. Receive the input from other teams on what programs they would like to see. Um, you ask them and they'll tell you. And sometimes, even if they don't know, there's all kinds of communities out there online that will show what new and innovative things are. You also want to think about equipment and materials needed to provide to when you go out to these communities. Think about the amount of equipment needed to have a program offering to at least 30 to 50 teams. Your staffing levels. Choose among your team services staff who will be going out to these events. Sometimes, you don't have the staff that you can extend to go out to those events. If you have at least one, you can take a volunteer with you and they can assist you during the program. Budget. How much is it going to cost? Um, there are grants out there that one can apply to. You can also talk with your council, whoever provides the budget, with your directors and see what the budget looks like for this year or for the next fiscal year and how to incorporate some of the programs that you're thinking about into the next one. Or if there is some extra funds, hey, we would like to try this new program, can we purchase some items that will help us with providing this program? I think this would be very beneficial to our library and just pitching it that way. Um, and you want to think about the replacement costs of materials used to sustain your programs, especially with if you're doing crafts, the construction paper, the markers. Do you have enough that you can leave at the library and then still take with you to your events? And promotional print material. So how will your library promote its program offerings to community organizations? What we do is we have an online form that organizations can request us. They can submit all their information, what kind of program they would like for us to provide them by looking at our service catalog, how many times they would like for us to come out. We have a limit of, in a series of 5, and then we have a break, and then we come back to them if they would like for us to come back to them and do another series of 5 dates. Which most of the time they really love that. Sometimes they're like, well, can we just keep booking you many times? And we're like, no, we got to be fair to the rest of the community and be able to rotate around. And also, one part of their promotional print material, whenever you're out to these organizations, what kind of flyers can you present to them? Letting them know this is a little bit about us and this is the type of programs that we offer. So we're going to go ahead and brainstorm for a little bit. What kind of programs does your library plan on taking out to the community or that you would like to offer to the community? Those are all awesome. I really do like them. Um, Definitely STEM Roundtable, Summer Reading Club and Career High School Online and Citizenship, mobile library card signups, book talks, and some STEAM programming. hmm Which are all doable. We do a lot of mobile card signups. Every time we go out to our programs, we always give the opportunity, if parents or guardians are present, for the students to be able to be signed up for a library card. And we'll also tell the parents, you also can sign up for a library card. And for any of the other children that are not present at this event, and then we talk to them about all the resources that the library has to offer, and the type of programs. And then it's also a follow up for us, we can always come back and provide programs for adults. Okay. So, partnerships, building partnerships with community leaders. Building these relationships with the community leaders of these organizations is essential to building the trust with your teens. These teens already trust these leaders. And if they say, hey, come out to this program that the library is offering, the teens will come. Some examples of youth focused groups that we have is Girls and Boys Club, 4-H, community centers, residential communities, definitely targeting residential communities, schools, churches. You'd be surprised. We'll go to an apartment complex, and especially during the summer, it's but and we'll provide these programs, and the kids are already there, so why not come? And then when we go to the parks, I don't know if y'all have thought about parks, partnering up with the parks department within your community. They have lots of kids, and we currently have a partnership with our parks department. Our partnership with our parks department is so great that we're housed in their own building, because they're nice enough to allow us the parking spot to park our big vehicles. Some of the people that you might want to talk with at these youth focused groups are usually have the title of youth or community coordinators, and they're interested in partnering with you. They just don't know about all that the library has to offer. They don't know, so we have to reach out to them, whether it's via email, call them up, or at health fairs, um, school, open house, anytime that there is some type of community event, that's where they are. And once they find out, they're your brand ambassadors. Word of mouth spreads so fast. You would be surprised. Definitely reach out to librarians at schools, teachers, and even principals. Reach out to charter schools. I don't know if within your communities you have charter schools, but in Houston, we're pretty big on charter schools. So now that we've briefly talked about some of partnerships, I want to get a sense of, can you think of any potential partnerships within your community? So we'll have a few minutes on the chat. Just jot down some of the partnerships that you can think of in the next 10 seconds. Yes, community liaisons, family shelters. Oh yes, Job Corps. Yes, after school programs, especially with that age group, 6th through 8th graders. They're just trying to discover who they are and what they like. And most of them are just so in focus in their phones. And once you are able to intrigue them with a subject that seems lots of fun, but they don't realize that they're learning at the same time, they'll remember you. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about a partnership that we've had since 2010, which is called Citizen Schools, and we go out and do apprenticeships within these middle schools. So Citizen Schools is a nonprofit organization that partners with middle schools in low-income communities to provide an expanded learning day. They're located all around the country. They have locations. They're in middle schools in California, Illinois, Massachusetts, North Carolina, New York, New Jersey, and in Texas. I know that's at the very beginning when Nicole asked where you're from. Some of you mentioned that you were from these within these states. So that may be a great opportunity for you to partner up with Citizen Schools and do apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are taught for 90 minutes on various topics for the students to choose from. For them, it's twice a week, but for a citizen teacher, it would be once a week for 10 weeks. And at the end, they have a final showcase. And they get to show their peers and their teachers what they've learned over the course of those 10 weeks. Some of the apprenticeships that we've done in the past is robotics, renewable energy, video making, video game design, and 3D printing. And here I have some pictures of some of the apprenticeships that we've done. We've done robotics, so the bottom left on the bottom left-hand side, I had a student where she learned how to program her robot, and she was telling her teacher in her math class how she was able to do it, and he was like so fascinated with it as even as an adult. He's like, wow, you did that. And then in our bottom right hand side, our students are filming a shot from their inspired parody of El Chavo del Ocho. I don't know if some of you know about El Chavo del Ocho, but it's one of those programs that many Latinos have grown up, even if it was all they've seen is reruns, it's very in focus within the culture. So they were El Chavo, which is one of the boys, he was rescuing these young girls from this bad person. So it was a very interesting just to see how they have how they what they had seen growing up and they were trying to put it into their own version. And then we were able to showcase it in front of their peers. And then they got to talk about it, about their process and what they enjoyed about making the movie. We've also did renewable energy, and the kids got to build a Lego city that is only powered and only runs by solar energy. So, or in this case, a very strong light. So we'll talk about some of the programs that, just as suggestions that you can take out. So one of them is Lego Robotics. You can have gaming tournaments. You can do crafts. You can do movie making, 3D printing, and Raspberry Pi. So with Lego Robotics, we have several kits that we have in our inventory. We have Lego Story Starter. With Lego Story Starter, students can create their own scenes. We give them a story prompt. We'll tell them the beginning, the middle, what the conflict is, and they'll come up with an ending. Then once they have come up with the scenes and constructed them, they will then take a picture of it and then upload it onto the Story Starter software and make a comic out of it. They really enjoyed that part. The next couple of ones, so We Do allows them to construct their Lego, and then it's the introductory to programming. So with this programming, it's very like small little blocks, and it's a whole bunch of drag and drop. So you don't have to know how to code to put a program together with this kit. Simple Machines, it's just basically teaching the students about simple machines. So in this particular picture, this boy, he constructed a windmill, and then he's holding in his hand, with his other hand, energy meter. And so he was able to see the connection of like, okay, so how much energy is this windmill producing? NXT and EV3, they tend to remind me of Wall-E once they're built, but it's another, a little bit more advanced version of We Do, and it does involve programming with the computer, and it's also a drag and drop. Tetrix is intended mainly for our high school students. It has a lot of nuts and bolts and has very few Lego pieces, but the program that you use to program the model or the robot, it is very, how do I say it? Very code based. So I personally don't tend to do this one. That's one of those kits that I will have to raise my hand and ask one of my coworkers, hey, can you help me with this one? I don't know how to code with Code C. But if there is someone in the group that knows how to use Code C, you're more than welcome to take a stab at it and try to see how that works. But I tend to go with We Do, NXT, and EV3, and then we have our renewable energy kit. Now with the renewable energy kit, the kids just get to build the model, and then they add the solar panel, and then we like to tell them, hey, let's go ahead and build a solar car. Once they build a solar car, we take it outside, and it's that hands-on, and then we hands-on portion, and they get to race their car depending on how much sunlight within the day. They get to see if their car is going to go really fast or really slow, and then they see that connection of like, oh, this is the solar panel, this is how much energy is going to be produced, so this is what's going to be affecting my car and its movement. And these kids they were quite an interesting group, but they were able to work together fairly quickly. This particular model takes about 45 minutes, and they were able to do it in 25 minutes, which was quite impressive. So gaming tournament. Teens love video gaming. You don't have to really introduce too much with that one. But some of the challenges that you can throw to your students is to do their own game design. We've used Kodu in the past, which is a free download from Microsoft, and it has its own tutorial. So you don't have to know how to design your own game personally. You can go along with them through the tutorials, and the tutorials will show them how to create that level, and then have their peers try to beat that level. And of course, students love Minecraft. Most of the time that when we take Minecraft, it was called Kodu, Kodo, and it is a free download. No problem. Minecraft, we have the EDU version, and what we do with that one is we'll set up a router, Minecraft router, and we'll have all of our students that are participating just play together in this one world. And you'll see how many times they'll like, hey, I have this item. come to my house. They're talking to their peers across from each other, but they're working together and helping each other to combat this zombie. I'm still trying to learn much about Minecraft myself, but they don't ever need my help. They just need me to start the program and they go at it. And then, of course, the best scores. We'll have video game, dance, Central or Dance Revolution, and we'll have a competition of who has the best score. And at the very end, whoever has the best score will get a prize, or if it's a team, they will get the prize. And they're always asking, well, ma'am, do you have this particular song? And we'll have to see if we have the song within the game. And if we do, they get to dance it, and they really enjoy it. So we'll talk about crafts. So with our crafts, we're mixing technology and engineering with art. For this, we've used Little Bits. Little Bits is electronic building blocks that snaps together with magnets, and we'll discuss with the students how negative and positive are attracted to each other. Students have the chance to explore how inputs can affect the outputs within their project. So within this one, we'll give them a battery, a 9-volt battery. We'll give them the cord that connects to the power button. And then we'll have several different magnets that can be, they can choose for their input and then their output. And in this particular project, they got to build what looks like I like to say a wheel. I haven't particularly done this one. I've done another one where we call it the inchworm. And within Little Bits, which is fairly new, they have all kinds of lesson plans that you can use with your students. And that's a great resource to look at. And another craft that we like to do is 3D modeling. So once we teach the students how to do 3D models and we print the item, then they get to paint them. For this particular challenge that we gave the students, they had to build items that they would like to see in Mars, which we found through a website called Thingiverse, which I'll talk about in a couple of minutes. And they were really adamant about having malls and Mars and big vehicles. So these two girls, they're taking their time and painting the particular color of their mall inside. So with movie making, teens love movies and have probably at one point thought about making a movie themselves. This program for us is a 4-part session, with the first part being the script writing and all of its components and its importance of it, the importance of having storyboarding, just seeing the chronological scenes of like how their story is going to take place, filming and editing. We tend to use iMovie because we have some Macs, but if not, we use Windows Movie Maker. Windows Movie Maker is also a free download that you can use, and it's very user-friendly. If you haven't used it before, there are tutorials online. When I first started within this department, I didn't know anything about movie making. I had thought about it. I could record, but I had never put a movie together. So I myself learned the process. And then each year, students can enter their short film into our Real Teen Film Festival competition. And they do win real prizes, gift cards, depending on which level they win, whether it's first place, second place, or third place. We did this particular one for movie making within the library. We set up a green screen in between some shelves, and the students got to film their scene. And then at the end, once in the post-production and the editing, they could put it into the scene that they wanted. This one was aliens versus humans in this storyline. So we'll talk about 3D printing. But I do have a question before I start discussing it. How many of you have used a 3D printer? And I do have that. Okay. So fairly, a lot of people have not used a 3D printer before, which is okay. I just learned how to use a 3D printer not too long ago, about a year ago. So a lot of the stuff that I am talking about, I have learned them fairly recent, within the last 2 years. But just like, but I, once I learned them, I'm teaching myself to teach. And once I have it, I can go out and teach it to the students, and you'd be surprised. They they love that. So what is 3D printing? 3D printing is making a three-dimensional object from a digital file. So here I have one of my staff members, Rachel. She is teaching students. She's posing that question: what is 3D printing? What type of materials will I need? And just having the students just to start thinking of what they already know or what they think they know, and actually giving them some more information. Sorry. There.
Hi, everyone. Looks like we just briefly lost Clementina's connection. So we will.
Can everyone hear me? Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Something went wrong with the connection. So as I was saying, with the 3D printing, okay. Thank you, Nicole. We use a 3D printer called PrinterBot, which you can see on the very bottom. PrinterBot is one of our more affordable printers, and it's very compact and easy to take on the go. We use Thingiverse to find items that the students would like to design themselves or modify or customize with their own initials and names, or if they want to put their favorite artist that they love. And here are some of the items that their students have created, whether it's the malls, badges, or in figurine. And we use Tinkercad. Tinkercad is where the students will modify the design that their 3D model that they will use to later on send it to the 3D printer. And Tinkercad is a simple online 3D design and 3D printing app for everyone to use. As a library, you can create one general account and have folders of different sessions to keep track of the designs. So that's how we keep track of all the different locations that we go out to. We have them in different folders, and then when it's time for us to print the items, we know, okay, we went to this particular event on this date. These are the items that we're printing. And all of this is free, these websites. You just have to create accounts. So Tinkercad, here's a snapshot of Tinkercad in Thingiverse. With Tinkercad, they do have tutorials on how to 3D model. I myself and the students have gone through the tutorials, and they'll walk you through step by step on what to do for each of the tutorials that they have. So you can create from a piece of chess, a pawn, up to glasses, Minecraft glasses on specifically. A Raspberry Pi, no, it's not the one where we actually get to teach the students how to cook, but Raspberry Pi is a low-cost credit card sized computer that plugs to a computer monitor or TV and uses a standard keyboard and mouse. It is a capable little device that enables people of all ages to explore computing and to learn how to program in languages like Scratch and Python. So Scratch, again, it's one of those programs that you use blocks to drag and drop, and it goes with, if you do this, then this happens. Some of the Raspberry Pis that we use for our students is the Kano kits, which is one of the nicest Pi kits that we have, and it's aimed for users that aren't really confident in their technical skills. All of the bits and pieces that you need are right in the kit. The software is designed to be accessible. This is actually a great way to introduce young students and beginners on how to do programming. One of the last things that I will touch on is part of our summer reading program that you can use for your teen read week. We do, for the past couple of years, we've done Camp Stream. STREAM stands for Science, Technology, Reading, Engineering, Arts, and Math. And this is our week-long day camp. It allows our students the opportunity to participate in activities relating to each aspect of STREAM, so each of those subjects, each day of the week. We offer it at 5 different locations. So the first one that's coming up is in June, which is going to be held at our downtown location. And then the first 3 weeks in August at our regional locations. And some of the topics that we'll cover in our camp is the ones that I have mentioned, but also theater play, painting, and then we do lots of field trips. We have performers come in and do different activities with the students, and then we'll also take them out on field trips. If field trips is not something that you can do within your budget, you can definitely reach out to other organizations and say, hey, does anybody know about a DJ coming out to the library? And you'd be surprised how many DJs will love to participate with the library. And the kids can have a, as we call it, party on the plaza type of event. So here are some pictures of some of our students that we've had at our camps previously, where we've done rocketry with them. We've taught them how to take apart a computer and then put it back together. We've done some engineering structures where they had to see how much their bridge would withstand within weights. And these students have all surpassed. what we ever expected. And they've taught us actually some new things. We're like, oh, I never really thought about that. So just one last question for y'all is, are these some programs that you think that you could actually bring into your library? Well, I'm glad. And here are some further resources for you, whether you would like to know more about Kano Kits, 3D printing lesson plans, what is Little Bits. And one special one that I like to always add is NASA. NASA always has workshops near you that you can attend for free and get certification and learn about what programs you can bring to your library. They're always intended for educators. So definitely check their website, see what programs or experiments you would like to bring to your library. And if you have any ideas, comments, or questions, or would like to know more something in detail, please let me know and write it in the chat. If not, you can email me or call me. You're welcome, no problem.
Okay, everyone, this is Nicole. Thank you so much for joining us today. I've entered Clementina's email address in the comments as well. I am entering my own so that if any of you have questions, you can submit them to either Clementina or myself. And again, if you would like to request a certificate of attendance for today's program, please send me an email and I'd be happy to issue one. So thank you so much for joining us today. And Clementina, thank you for such a wonderful presentation. And I will email to everyone a copy of a link to the recording of the presentation as well as a link to the slides so that you can go back and listen to this at any time you would like.
Ooh, tea tasting. That actually sounds very delicious.
Okay, everyone, I think we are done for today, but thank you so much.